So Galway are out of championship after losing by 27 points to 24 against Limerick. We'll look at their player ratings. I think the first one is a tough one for Éanna Murphy because he was asked to go with a high-risk strategy of an awful lot of short puckouts, and you can understand why, because you don't want to go long all day on Dermot Burns, Declan Hannon and Kyle Hayes, especially when you have Will O'Donoghue and Dara Donovan coming back looking to burst you, not to mention Tom Morrissey and Grode Hegarty as well. So you can't hit every ball long, but of course some of them went a little bit awry, and in some ways I feel sorry for the task that Éanna Murphy had, but obviously it kind of backfired an awful lot, so some of that is going to fall on the goalkeeper's head. I think a sideline after 15 minutes, or a puck out went straight over the sideline after 15 minutes. Tried a 1-2 with Sean Loftus a little while later, and then when he tried to knock it onto Pádraig Mannion, he got it turned over, I think, by Seamus Flanagan. That could have been a goal. So he did make a great save from David Reedy in the second half, but probably too many of the puck outs didn't go right. I think one or two his defenders didn't help him out with. I know Aidan Hart took a short puck out and he knocked it on then, and let me just double check who was it that turned it over. Peter Casey turned over his puck out the field, and Adrian Breen knocked over a point, and then later on Adrian Toohey should have taken one down with his stick, but instead went with his hand, and that ended up being another score. So that sort of stuff is costly, but I wouldn't put it all on Murphy. It was a tough day at the office, and I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10, but he definitely wasn't helped by the people in front of him. Aidan Hart, he was on Seamus Flanagan at times, he was on Aaron Gillan at times, and I think they would have been in serious trouble back there in that full back line without a sweeper, Pádraig Mannion. I think Hart maybe a 5. Daithí Burke probably a 7. I mean, he had a nice battle with Aaron Gillan at the start, and he was on Flanagan at other times, and he came out on David Reedy as well. Brilliant catch over, well, a ball was going in over his head to Seamus Flanagan on the 44th minute, and he caught a beauty. So I'll give Daithí Burke a 7 out of 10. Shane Cooney had a rough time of it on Tom Morrissey in the opening half. Morrissey got 3 points at that stage. Cooney was then moved out to midfield and then taken off. I give him a 5. Now he did play wing back and then moved to midfield, just to clarify there. Sean Loftus, he came in, he was named ahead of Fintan Burke, and he played on Graham Mulcahy, held him scoreless, which is no mean feat, and then struggled a bit more on Peter Casey, who's an absolute live wire, and plenty of people would have him starting. Grode McInerney, a guy that was so dominant maybe 3 years ago, he's a couple of quiet performances I think this year. Spent a lot of the game kind of trying to chase after Cian Lynch in space with good ball going into the Patrick's Wellman, so I think that's a tough job. Went full back late on. I give him a 5 because the spine of the team, you need your centre back imposing, and I know a lot of that depends on what happens further up the field in front of you, but probably just didn't impose himself on the game. Joseph Cooney had a rough time of it on Grode Hegarty, who took him for 4 points in the first half. Improved somewhat going into the half forward line, but didn't really happen for him, so a 5 out of 10. Much like Pádraig Mannion as well, and he did get on a bit of ball, but if you're a sweeper and your team has decided, basically there needs to be an awful lot more pressure up the field, and I think there's a couple of lads played like passengers in that forward line for Galway against a brilliant Limerick team who do throw the ball around and make it difficult for you, and if you don't have serious legs in the forward line, you're going to be in serious bother, and because of that there was decent enough ball going in, and I think Mannion did well more as a prevention rather than a cure, because I mentioned in the video with the Limerick player ratings how Aaron Gillan and Mulcahy didn't really get into the game, and that's because Mannion was there, and he did win a bit of ball, but it's not like he took over the game the way you'd want a sweeper to, the way Tadhg de Burke does at times. So I'll give him a 5 because there's more in him. Johnny Cohen just about edged the battle with Dara Donovan at midfield. Felt he ran his heart out. I give him a 7. Joe Canning, absolutely brilliant from place balls, like 4 sideline cuts. That sort of thing doesn't happen too often, and I mean, it kind of highlights what Galway are at, that 5 of their 24 points came from sideline cuts. Fintan Burke scored the other, so that was it kind of shows that plenty of their scores there came from stuff that wasn't necessarily created. They just happened to win a sideline cut and knocked them over the bar. Canning hit the free as well, missed a couple in the first half actually, and didn't really get into the game from play at all really. I think he had just won a nice turnover before he suffered that blow to the head, so looks like it's a concussion, and I give him a 6 out of 10 just because those place balls and the sideline cuts were so good. Cathal Mannion, he was withdrawn early in the game, and that was a big blow to Galway, because he had been he was so good against Tipperary, scoring 1-3, and he was off after 24 minutes. Now, at that stage, Galway just levelled the game at 8 points apiece, so that's a double blow. After starting well, Galway levelled, you've got a guy in form, and he can carry ball and he can take lads on. There's an awful lot he can do, and he was once he went off, that was a big blow. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I'd say he could have done more, but I mean 6 out of 10 will go with. David Burke, he was out around midfield, very quiet, and he was withdrawn at half time, so 5 out of 10 there. Brian Concannon, I'd give an 8. Like, Concannon set the tone for Galway's brilliant start to the game. He got 3 points in that first half. He won frees in the second half. He was out in the half-forward line. He was inside. When he gets the ball, it's danger. So if they could get more ball to him, they might have got more out of it. Conor Cooney, give him a 5 out of 10. No real impact in the game, and struggled with Kyle Hayes early on, I felt. Conor Whelan got 3 points from play, and he was starved of ball when he was inside, and he came out centre forward and he made things happen. He ended up scoring 3 points in total, a couple of them just beauties, go on sideline, solo runs I should say, and strike off the stick, and set up a few other scoring chances for his teammates. So he himself and Concannon kind of led the line in the forwards. Adrian Toohey came on for Cathal Mannion, give him a 7. Fintan Burke shored things up a bit on Grode Hegarty, give him a 7. Jason Flynn made no impact, so give him a 5. Sean Lenan a 6, and Evan Nyland came on, struck a lovely free, and then struck a beauty from play as well, so give him a 7. So that's the Galway ratings on my sort of first view, and I might watch it back, might change my opinion on some of it, but let me know what you think. Who was the star man, what did I get right and what did I get wrong? If you're looking to order the perfect gift for the hurling enthusiast in your life, why not order a cool stick with our game? Get your orders into sticks@ourgame.ie. It's €30 per hurley decorated plus delivery costs. There's a click and collect option available at a Dublin site, and you can get whatever you like put onto the hurleys. So order at sticks@ourgame.ie.